Hello everyone! Thank you for joining me today for Carry and Craft Bird Feeder Edition. Today we're making bird feeders out of recycled water bottles and plastic containers. These are a great way to upcycle things that we all have lying around our home, as well as to invite our feathered friends into our backyards. I want to apologize today if you hear some additional background noise. My dogs may choose to talk to you from the backyard, and there's a busy road next to me. And I had to be outside today filming this because it is gorgeous out. By the time you're watching this, it might be a rainy Saturday, so maybe you can enjoy the sun vicariously through the video. But it's too nice to be inside today. So, in your kits, you should have gotten a water bottle, a plastic container, a piece of paper, and some string. Real simple kit. The project today is relatively simple. There are a few things I want to talk about beforehand though. If you choose to paint your water bottle, which I would encourage you to do, I have a single coat of white on as a base coat. I'm going to put a second coat on before I'm finished. But then you're going to need to seal it with an outdoor sealer. You can use the outdoor Mod Podge, an acrylic spray, any of those outdoor resistant, weather resistant acrylic sealers would be ideal. And that's just to keep your paint from flaking and fading any more quickly than it already will. And I just use acrylic craft paint, nothing special, okay? Some things you're gonna want from around the house. You're gonna want a pair of kitchen shears if you have them, an X-Acto knife, or a carpet blade, or something along those lines. It just makes cutting everything a little easier to have those tools on hand. At this point, grab your beverage of choice. I actually have water and coffee today. And join me in making a recycled bird feeder. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is start with this guy, okay? As you can see, it's our clear plastic bowl, and I've put a line a little bit below the lip. We don't want the dish to be quite as deep, so we're cutting the dish down a bit, okay? Second thing we're gonna do is I did put an X here with a box to kind of mark my area, but what we're doing is we're creating a hole so that the bottle can fit through, and then the lid goes on the other side of the bowl. So what we want to do is to put that there, and then outline the rim that you see through the bottle. So what I did is I placed the bowl on top of the water bottle and just traced the lip so that you know the hole is big enough for the water bottle neck to fit through, okay? Once that's done, put the water bottle back off to the side. And then, because I'm not cutting to an edge first, or through an edge, I'm going to use my X-Acto knife. And I am just going to cut through very carefully. If you are of a younger age and doing this craft, you need to make sure you have your adult with you, supervising you or doing this part for you, okay? If you are of an older age and doing this on your own, just please be careful. Accidents happen at any age. We need you to have all your fingers and toes so that you can do more carrying crafts with us this summer. Whoop, my blade for my X-Acto knife came out. Not the end of the world. Got to loosen that up a bit. And slide this back in. Okay, tighten that back up. Okay. So, So now we have our hole. Woo! Okay. Next thing we're going to do is, this is where your kitchen shears come into play, or really strong scissors. You just want to cut down. I cut a little far on that one, but I will follow your black line. I drew the line about 1/2 inch down below the lip. Okay. So we have this little vessel here. Okay. Now you could leave this on, but what happens is the bird seed starts to build up too much. Then you get a lot of water stuck in, and we don't want to deal with that. Now, speaking of water, you take this X-Acto knife again and just put some slits at the bottom to help water drain through, but we don't necessarily want to lose the bird seed. So if it rains, something along those lines. Okay. Give your X-Acto knife a little wiggle, or your blade a little wiggle when it goes in. Okay. Make this one a little bit. Okay. Make sure when you're poking through, your fingers are out of the way. And I'm just re-poking some holes to make sure I have wiggled room in there. Okay, there we go. Now, as I'm sure you've noticed, when I cut with my kitchen shears, the first cut I made was a little deep. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it, but one of the ways you can avoid doing that is to just take small snips like this in the beginning to get down to where you need to go, and then you can start cutting. Okay, so here's what we have. Now we have to prepare the water bottle. Water bottle preparation is super simple, but again, it requires a blade, so please be careful. Now we have different holes here that I've marked off that the bird seed will come down. And all we are doing is working to cut a hole for the bird seed to come out of. And you can do this with whatever device. I know starting your holes are typically easier with the X-Acto knife, and then cutting the rest of it could be simpler with your blade, with your kitchen shears. So whatever works best for you, just above all else, be careful. Okay. See, I started my hole with that, with the kitchen shears, or with the X-Acto knife, and I'm going to finish it with the kitchen shears. The holes that are closer, higher up, closer to my paint line, are a little bit bigger than those closer to the neck. And that's just for stability reasons. Okay. Okay, so we have all of our holes put in. Now at this point, if you're going to continue painting, do so. I'm going to use the natural lines of this plastic bottle. I don't know if plastic bottles can have natural lines, but the lines that are already in. And I'm just going to paint different colors of green and blue. Okay, so that's how I'm going to finish this off. In order to get it ready to hang, we want to put a small hole here. And I have already marked off, you want them right across each other. And again, you can eyeball this for the most part. Okay, they're here and here. Then you're going to put, they're here and here. Put a little hole, and that's where your yarn's going to go. Okay. But before we start putting yarn and birdseed in, we have to make sure this fits. So here's my lid. Here's this. Okay. We need this just a touch bigger, which isn't a surprise. Okay, we need this a touch bigger. But it's rather be a touch bigger than too big. Okay. So I'm using the kitchen shears this time to have a little more control, at least for me. You may be better doing it with the X-Acto knife. I've cut it down and I've put that neck through. And then you put the lid on. And this is what will be hanging from your trees. Okay? And I'm creating a funnel out of the piece of paper I gave you. This is a really good life hack.
So all that you need for this little project is a sheet of paper and some tape. So what you're going to do is you are going to get the sheet of paper and you are going to get one corner on the sheet of paper. And you're going to begin to roll it in a very small circle towards the opposite corner. So I'm getting this corner and I'm rolling it towards that corner right there in a small circle. Now I'm going to roll it once and twice. Now for the third roll, you are going to take your right hand and you are going to sort of cut it some slack. So I'm using my right hand to bring out the right side of the roll, just like that. Now that I've brought out the right side of the roll a little bit so that the roll is almost, in line with the paper. It's no longer cutting across the corner. It is now going, in line with the paper, sideways I should say. I can continue rolling just like that. And because I've cut it some slack, it's going to roll on an angle because the bottom part of the funnel, which is on my left-hand side, is going to be much smaller than the top part of the funnel, which is on my right-hand side. So I'm going to continue rolling like that. And once I am done, I'm going to take some tape, just like that, while holding the paper funnel, and I'm going to just put a little piece of tape over the corner of the end of the funnel, just like that, and there you have it. That is how you make a paper funnel.
I have the funnel in the bottle, and I'm going to pour the bird seed at the wide end and let it come down. Move your funnel up and down. Okay. Always keep this tight at the base. Okay. You just saw there I brought it up. I moved it a little too much. So, okay. And you turn it over. Okay. And the holes or the bird seeds come out. Okay. So that's it. Now that you have some weight at the bottom, we can work on putting your string through. And then you can hang your bird feeder like this. Okay. Okay, so now we're getting the string through so we can hang it from a tree. Now, on those black dots I had on, what I've done is I've taken an old chopstick or a pencil and you just stick the end of it in wide enough. Okay. Now, what I like to do is take the chopstick. I've taped the string to the end of a chopstick. Okay. and I take this end of the chopstick and poke it through to the other end and carefully maneuver this through. This is where it gets a little tricky. Okay, maneuver that through. So this chopstick does your dirty work for you. Then you just tie your loop as long or as short as you want it. I always put a couple of knots in it. As you can see, I've put 4 or 5 knots on it, and it is ready to hang. And that is your recycled bird feeder. Now, you can jazz this up like I said before, with painting, sealing, those kinds of things. This is an easy bird feeder to do, easy to decorate, low cost. No reason why we can't all have these beautiful bird feeders hanging out in our backyards. Thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of spring. So I do hope you choose to join Miss Rita and I for our cement bath towel vases in May. Keep an eye out for that if you haven't already registered. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your spring. Thank you for joining us for Carry and Craft Bird Feeder Edition, and we'll see you in the library.